Bites of Pie. Today's video is going to cover Lab 5F, Interface Practice. Now, this lab is going to be different than all the other labs in that you are going to define what classes you turn in, what interfaces and classes you turn in. We have an example here. We're going to go through an example of what we mean, but you're going to end up having to use your own creativity. So, for the example, we have an interface, an Animal 5F interface, and we have 3 different classes that use that interface. And then we have this runner class, which is called Zoo 5F. So let me, essentially what you're going to be asked to do is create an interface that has static constants. You're going to create an interface that does at least 2 things. I've done 4 here, but we're only going to do 2 things. You're going to have it do something. You're going to create 2 or 3 different classes that fulfill that contract. And then you'll have a runner class that kind of implements it. And this is kind of, let's go through it starting with 1. So first off, you'll create an interface like Animal 5F. Now you can be whatever you want. Here's some examples: a t-shirt or ice cream pint or car, something that's generic. And we're going to define 2 methods for what that interface has to do. A car could drive somewhere, or get size or get price. I'm going to do it based on I'm going to get something or do something. Here you can see that I'm creating a get animal type. So depending on, I have different types here. I have an invertebrate or a mammal or a reptile. I've got or a fish or a bird or amphibian. I'm going to, depending on which animal it is, I'm going to return that type. I'm also going to have a name, so I can name animals, whether it's a pet or whether it's a human, I can name them. I'm going to get a number of legs. Each animal has a different number of legs, and they're also going to say something. They're going to do something when I poke them. So all animals kind of fit these 4 different categories. So you're going to have to come up with your own categories for whatever type you create. Now that I've defined this contract, I'm going to create 2 or 3 classes. You're going to have to create 2 or 3 classes that implement your interface. Now they need to implement the functions you've declared. So if you've declared 2, every class that implements your interface has to fulfill that contract. Now don't worry about this override function here. You can do it without. That's just something that Eclipse likes to do. But it's overriding the animal. It's by default and overriding these functions here. It's just a little note to developers. Control-Z. So here you can see when I create the horse, I'm fulfilling it. I have a constructor horse where I pass it in a name, and it's going to set the horse's name. When I call the get animal type, a horse is a mammal, so I'll return the mammal constant here. The name, I'm just going to return the name of what the horse's name is. A horse has 4 legs, so I'm going to return 4. When I get a number of 4 legs, and then when I poke him, he's going to neigh and say, "Watch out, Wilbur." Now a tuna is also an animal, but it has different things. It's the same thing with a constructor. I pass it a name and I set its name. Instead of a mammal, a fish. Tuna is of a type fish. The tuna also has a name, so I can return a name. It has 0 legs, so when I return, when I call number of legs, I'm going to return 0. And when I poke a fish, it's just going to blub. All right. Lastly, I'm going to create a runner class, where I'm going to loop through it. I'm going to create a whole bunch of different animals or of my type interface. And I'm going to add it to this list. We haven't covered lists yet, but we will cover lists in our next chapter. So this is a good practice to get used to this. And it kind of points out points out something good. Here I have a list of animal 5. So I'm creating a list of an interface. I'm not creating a list of tunas or horses or humans. I'm creating a list of animals, and because I made it broad like this, in my list I can add humans or horses or tunas in any different order, and they all are of type animal because they're all implementing that interface. So I can add humans and horses and tunas all to the same collection, and they all do the same thing. So here I'm creating a new array list of animal and you can in your sample code, you'll whatever your interface is, you'll create a list of that interface. You'll add new instances. Note I can't say new animal because animal is an interface. I have to actually put the implementing class here, and then I'm going to loop through. And this is another concept we'll cover in the unit 6. But here is a special for loop. You've seen for loops with 3 conditions. Here's one where I say, for every animal in this list of animals, do this. I'm going to spit out their name. I'm going to spit out their type. I'm going to say that animal has this number of legs, and then I'm going to poke them, and they're going to say something. So here, let me run it. There's no input for this, so it runs right away, and you can see that Bob is a mammal. Bob has 2 legs. So I just looped through, and it printed out Bob. It printed out Gail. Actually, it's probably better if I kind of step through it. Let's debug and step through it. All right, so here I am. I've added all of the animals, and I'm going to loop through the animal. Animal A is Bob. Bob is a mammal. Bob has 2 legs. I'm going to poke Bob, and Bob says, ouch. I'm going to loop through again. Gail. Gail's a person, a human. She also has 2 legs, and I'm going to poke her, and she also says, ouch. The next mammal is a horse, Secretariat, but Secretariat has 4 legs. Notice I'm calling the same function, but because A is now a horse instead of a person, I'm getting a different number of legs, and I'm going to poke it, and he's going to say something different. Keep going through that. Fish has 0 legs. Poking, give him, Moby is a fish, and I poked him, and he said blub instead of neigh. So notice that. Let me get rid of this breakpoint here. And there it is. It goes through. So that's a really cool feature of interfaces, that I can create a collection of the interfaces that I know all do the same set of tasks. And as I'm looping through it, I don't have to know that a horse has, all horses and all people and all fish have a number of legs, animal type, and poke. That concludes this video. Thanks for watching.